think about this. Like, we can do things with AI better than any other human being can ever do. I mean, using AI and training a model to do a task, it's going to do it every single time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about human error at all.
What's up, everybody? We are here today in the den with a very special guest, Mr. Corey Berrier, a consultant of the trades. Corey, sir, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, my friend. How are you?
I never had a bad day in my life, Corey. I'm glad we're getting back here finally, man. I know. Yeah, you and I were having some conversations offline about just AI and contractors and how it can help them out. So we figured, why not jump on and have a conversation recorded for people?
For sure. First off, thanks for having me on. And I'm super excited about this conversation. And I think people are going to love it. So let's rock and roll.
Let's do it, dude. I think, well, one of the first things is we have a lot of contractors, obviously, that are going to be watching this right now. So just in case they already don't know who you are, can you give everybody a little bit about who Corey Berrier is, what he does, and how he helps you?
Sure. So I do several things. I host a podcast. I have a #1 bestseller on Amazon book. Thank you. And I work with the trades, and I'm gonna tell you why I work with the trades, because I cuss a lot and they cuss a lot, and like they don't turn their nose up when I drop an F-bomb. Yeah. And so I just, I have ADHD. Yeah. And I'm recovering alcoholic. So like all those things are kind of trade-ish.
Real trade-specific personality things, huh? That's not a shot at anybody. We all have our issues, right?
That's right.
But yeah, man, that's a great way to make friends, is to start cursing and see who comes around, right?
That's right. Well, and more specifically, I work with sales teams, to be honest with you. And I've worked with sales teams for a long, long time. I'm just a people person, dude. I love people. Yeah.
I see a lot of your videos out there. Don't you train a lot of CSRs and a lot of different people on how they can better sell, better communicate? Some of the content you put out there is really, really good. Just little tiny like sales advice tips that you pick up along the way early in your career. Like, unlike me right now, like don't talk so much, right?
Active listening. Yeah, dude. Well, and it's funny because people, and this is not a dig on anybody, but like, here's my biggest pain point. Here's my biggest problem and why I do what I do. CSRs are the first people that you talk to, your new customer talks to. So you spend thousands of dollars driving those new customers or even existing customers only to get somebody that you're paying $18, $20 an hour that don't really care. Yeah. And like, that seems nuts to me. It seems absolutely nuts to me.
Yeah, it does seem nuts. Well, it is a little nuts, but then, I think there's a few different things that kind of go into that, right? There's a lot of training that goes on. There's a lot of different tools out there, a lot of different coaching groups, right? And a lot of things go into that, right? Like AI.
That's right. And AI is, I think a lot of people are scared of AI, and there's no reason to be scared of AI. And I think that people think robots are going to take over, and look, they are going to take over certain things in our world. Not super soon. Well, they already have. They already have, right? They already have. It's like the Terminator was like our reality. It's coming.
Yeah. Skynet.
Yeah. So, but there's nothing to be scared. You shouldn't be scared about it. And I think a lot of people log into ChatGPT. Let's just use that for an example. Most people probably do know about that, but you'd be surprised how many people don't. Yeah. And so ChatGPT is, it's an open source API that you can log in and really ask it pretty reasonable questions to get back the answers that you're looking for if you know how to ask the questions. Now, that's a really key point there. And I think a lot of people get frustrated because they log in, they ask it a question, and maybe it doesn't give the exact answer, or they don't ask the question right, and they get turned off, and they get frustrated, and so they don't use it, and they say, well, it doesn't work. Yeah. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you don't know about this and you're not using it, you're going to be behind the times, because so to give everybody a little bit of an idea, ChatGPT, for example, whenever I'm putting stuff in my search, it continues to build on the information that I've already put in previously. And that's pretty cool. When you do as much as I do on the computer, it's really great for that to understand, well, artificially, what the output needs to be, and then to integrate other conversations that I've had, but it's smart enough that it's not going to integrate a conversation about, how to plant something outside in a CSR manual, for example.
So I think so the thing about AI, right, especially like in MySpace, and it's not MySpace, but MySpace and digital marketing, and a lot of different people that do, any kind of content production online. The AI is only as good as you let it be, right? Like you can't just give somebody a wrench and say, hey, go change out a furnace. You got to give them the tools and the training they need to use it right. So a lot of people use it to develop content, optimize web content, or different email marketing content, or literally anything you want online. What are some ways that it's kind of taken a step forward in terms of revolutionizing the home services space?
Great question. Productivity is huge, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, and this is just a fact, a lot of people have ADHD that work in the trades for whatever reason.
Okay.
It is pretty common. In fact, just about everybody I've worked with has either a touch of it or a lot of it. And so I'll start a text message, and maybe that text message never gets sent, and then you are left hanging for a week. And that happens to guys that I work with all the time. Or emails. Contractors are not usually super great at returning an email or maybe opening an email, but that's vitally important because there's could be important stuff there. So I'll give you an example. We could trade. There's different AIs that you could use that would circle back with you, or quite frankly, you could probably automate a lot of this stuff. When I say automate, I don't mean I guess it's kind of not really a funnel. That's not really what I mean. I mean, like, give it real-time answers, and you can train. I was just looking at I ran across a different AI today where you can put in the information. It'll pull from like Notion or Google Docs or Word, and you can train it to do what you want it to do, whether that be connecting documents, sending emails at a specific time. And that stuff's important. And it gives you the opportunity to not have to worry about doing the menial tasks that you hate. I mean, I hate it anyway.
Yeah, everybody hates it. That's why we're having robots do it. There's all the little stuff.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So
I think. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say no. Finish your thought. It's fine.
Well, no, I was just going to say that I think a lot of people think, well, robots are going to take the jobs. Well, they may, and that's going to happen. So look at it like this. Where else can you put those people? Where else in your business could you use that individual that maybe they would be better off? And that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Right person, wrong seat, right? Put them somewhere else in the company. Let the robot take over the BS that they don't want to handle or can't handle, or that just you don't think it's worth paying that salary for when you can do something else with it, right?
100%. Think about this. Like, we can do things with AI better than any other human being can ever do. I mean, using AI in training a model to do a task, it's going to do it every single time, right? You don't have to worry about human error at all.
Yeah.
And so that's important, I think.
Dude, honestly, a lot of the people that come to us too, like, we're partners with a lot of different, like, we work with a lot of different CRMs, a lot of different chatbots, a lot of different technology, right? A lot of it is supposed to eliminate the need for the pen and paper and all this other bullshit. But then when you get a little bit further into it, you see like, oh my God, the time I got to invest into this to like set everything up and make sure this number's tracked. You make sure that, this invoice is sent out and all this stuff. It's like, you might as well like just get rid of the idea that it's going to save you time and just start acclimating to the idea that it's going to help you out with your business, and investing that time here is worth it. And I think a lot of different things that you're talking about might play into making those kinds of things easier, right? Whether it's managing a CRM or booking a call or following up with someone about a comfort plan, right? Am I on the right track?
100%. Yeah, because we both know that, follow-up's not fun for me. And it's maybe not fun for you, and definitely not fun for most of our contractors. Yeah. And a lot of guys keep this stuff in their head, right? They say, well, that's just one thing. And they keep, put it in their brain, and it just gets pushed down and pushed down. And if it's not important and it doesn't light my brain up, even if it is important and it doesn't light my brain up, I'm probably going to push it to the bottom of the list. Yeah. So I've mitigated those things. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So let's just say I am a contractor, right? Is that like, what are some things that I should look to seek an AI solution for in the future, and like why? Like tell me, give me some. It's pretty broad. I know it's AI is still new, and your whole life is just like helping contractors, artificial intelligence at this point, right? So
Yes.
like, give me some ideas about how to think about this. What, as a contractor, what can I do to kind of get ready for AI? What should I look for to solve for me as problems?
Well, I would say the very first thing is spend a little time, which I know time's important, but you got to spend a little bit of time understanding like ChatGPT, for example, because look, you're not going to understand, like there's nobody, I don't know that anybody can necessarily, I work with people on this, but sometimes it's really hard to understand because we overthink things. And I'll give you an example. When you're typing something in ChatGPT, type it like a human being. Even when I first started messing with it, I'm like, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, it says right here, it clear as day, like ask it like a human being. I'm like, well, maybe that's not what it means. You second guess things.
Yeah.
And so to understand what we're talking about, the first step would be log into ChatGPT and start typing in stuff and seeing what kind of results it gives you. Now, the next step to that is there's a thing called prompts. And I never heard of this really in my life until just, when ChatGPT came out. And so prompts are, it's essentially, I've got a whole list of prompts, and I'll give you an example of one of them. Like I can create a 30-day content calendar with, and when I say a 30-day content calendar, it will list out everything that I need to put in that post, and a description of the image, the hashtags, the content, and it's really good. And it prints it out in a matter of, a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah. So you did that already for your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great, because I don't even mean to cut you off there, but a lot of people like organic social media, just to play into my space a little bit. Some people say it's important. Some people say it's not important. I do think it is important, especially if you're trying to grow or scale or have any kind of presence in a community. We all know that Facebook is only going to show you to about 3 to 6% of the people that follow you because they want your money for ads because you're a business, right? But having those posts go out is still important. So if I can have an AI pull out an image, give me some great copy that all I'd have to do is proofread and check and post, I've just eliminated a lot off of my admin right there, their daily responsibilities. You can still have the freedom of the text in the field to do like, cool, fun stuff or whatever it is. But I just eliminated that role. I no longer have to pay someone so much money to come in and do posts that aren't going to matter for me in the long run, right? Am I thinking the right way?
You absolutely are. But I want to take just one step further. So when you think about, well, is it original content? I don't want to feel like a fraud because I'm having a computer do it. Let me be clear. Like, you have to put a little bit of input into the computer before it spits these things out. You literally only have to put one word if that's the route you want to go.
Yeah.
But I can put in, the more specific I am, the more tailored the content's going to be. So it's still, it prints out what I'd like to say in my brain, but maybe I'm just not educated enough to put it on paper.
Teach your robot to be you.
It's fascinating. And I had that same feeling when I first started doing it. I'm like, God, it feels inauthentic. But the truth of the matter is, it's all going that way. And you can read my posts you can read them 10 times easier now.
Yeah.
That I'm not the one writing them.
Yeah. No, man, I hear you. Dude, AI, it's nuts the way it's going. And people, I think, someone like you has completely embraced it. How did you get into this? Like, what made you think, like, you know what, AI now, contractors, let's fucking go? Like, what was the thinking like? How did it happen?
Yeah, so I was already working with contractors, and ChatGPT came out, and I linked up with, and certainly not going to mention who it was, but I linked up with this guy that had an AI sales software, and it was mind blowing to me. It would read body language and all kinds of different things, and it blew me away. And so I linked up with this guy. He turned out to be, not the guy I thought he was, and so I don't ask a lot of questions sometimes. I just try to figure it out myself. And so during this process with him, I just went and figured out I try to figure out how he's doing this. And I have figured it out for sure. And so I have spent an unhealthy amount of time like in front of this computer with my just buried, because it's like a candy store to me. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that answer your question? I don't even know
Yeah,
if I answered your
it
question.
does answer my question. I was just seeing where you're going. I was like, how does a guy like Corey get into like all this AI stuff? What makes him excited about it? I know why I should be excited or why a contractor should be excited, but why you? What solutions are you looking to give out to people? Like, what is the thing that's got you up in the morning and excited to go for AI?
Well, it's the future. That's the first thing. And I've never been on the cutting edge of anything. Like, I'm not old enough. I don't know when the .com boom was, but I clearly missed that altogether. Like I missed, getting into Facebook when it first started, like this. And so I saw an opportunity to bury into something and plant my flag in an area that's going to be here forever.
Yeah.
And I don't say this egotistically at all, but like I really do know more about this than most anybody I've ever talked to, except for one guy. And he's the guy that's building the AI that I'm currently, he's building an AI for me that I'm going to introduce into the home services very, very shortly. I can't get into the details of that, but it is let's just say this. It's going to help productivity. It's going to help customer service. It's going to help the efficiency of the company significantly. So I'll tell you how it's going. So I linked up with a guy that's already built and developed and exited a field service software. In addition to that, he's been building AI since 2015. Now, the chances of finding that guy for me is like zero. Yeah. Like you know as well as I do, the chance of finding anybody knows anything about AI and the field service software, unless not even Service Titan, they know a little bit, but they haven't been dealing with AI except for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
and this guy's been building AIs for companies since 2015. Like it's basically a unicorn.
Yeah,
and so it's the problem that we're solving is unimaginable because it's brand new. Like it's not something that's ever been solved for our industry for sure. Now he has solved a very similar problem for a different industry, but that was like 2 years ago. And so, when he told me that, I'm like, he's for sure my guy. He understands exactly the pain points that I'm solving. He understands obviously field service software, which that would be a part of this, right? Not actually a field service software, but his background in understanding how I think I'm gonna stop on that one.
That's fine. Yeah, no worries, brother. We're good. And yeah, that's why when I was like, "How do you think it's going?" I meant like the conversation, but you went there. I was like, "Okay, just take it," right?
Yeah. I got to watch. My attorney said, "Corey, look, stop talking."
Dude, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you when we're done. You can tell me if you want me to let it rip or not.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fine. So, all right. So one of the things you asked me earlier about what really got me excited. And I mentioned that I have ADHD. So therefore, sometimes when I write messages or emails, they may not look quite, they're maybe a little bit out of order, not out of order, but like, sometimes my brain moves way faster than my hands and way faster than me putting something on paper. And so one of the things that I found extremely beneficial, that anybody can do this, is using chat for messaging, using chat for emails, because again, it will write it in a succinct way that makes sense to everybody else. And it's really what I'd like to say, but it just doesn't come out quite right. Yeah. So I have this tool that I use on my phone, and in the prompts, so it has preloaded prompts on it. And so it's got an email prompt, it's got a social media prompt, it's got an essay prompt, it's got a couple of things I don't really care about. But most importantly, I can go into this little app, if you will, and type in, I need to send an email to Bernie about hit SEO in XYZ company. And then it'll just print that out and it will make sense. And it'll act. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I like it. It does it. So in terms of making that work the most for me, right? Is it a situation where like, I'm just like, kind of making sure I have like one note, like, or I got to do this right here, or am I just like whipping it out and just bang, send the email to Corey about, whatever, speaking next month somewhere, right?
Sure. So you would put like, well, I'll just use your example. Hey, Corey, where are you speaking next month? We're going to be XYZ spot. Want to see if you're going to be there. I could type that in and it would print out a really succinct email for you, and you would copy it, paste it into your email, and send it. And that for me is extremely valuable because it saves me from having to go, well, did I write it right? Let me read over it, because I know it's right.
Yeah. You know it's right because you know how to use the tool.
That's right.
That's right. And it's all about the education for the tool, right?
That's right. 100%.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. And so the other thing that is one of the things, I don't know this is necessarily going to be beneficial, it's a lot of fun, is it's called Midjourney, which if you've seen any of those, the stuff that I post, what's great, have you seen have you seen any posts recently? If you haven't, that's fine, but I'm just curious. Any of my
I've seen
posts?
your post recently, yeah.
So you've seen the AI looking post, right?
Yeah.
How do you think I make those? No clue, right?
Just like it's gotta be some kind of tool, or you know what I mean? But I see the comment section, people are interested in it too.
Words. That's how I create it. That's all text.
So you're like,
right? Yeah. So like you just write in, like I wrote the other day, I was in an AA meeting and I'm like, I didn't even say picture, just you put the prompt in, and I put Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and the image comes up, and it's like unlike anything you've ever seen.
It's like art.
It looks, yes, like art,
yeah.
And it's fascinating. I spent some time with that, but it's not really that beneficial.
Yeah.
Not productivity wise, it's not beneficial. Sometimes it's really,
but it's fun.
It is fun. It is fun. So that's just a cool way that you could, use it. And I'll be honest with you, like I do a little bit of content for some of my clients, and I did some stuff today, and I used all of that AI art to produce, like, it's for a roofing and solar company. And so I typed in roofing and solar, and it produced these pictures that are unbelievable looking of roofers and solar people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's great. So that eliminates a lot of need for stock images too. You know what I mean? Have you ever had to scroll through, dude, pick one. There's a nightmare. Even go back into like your archives, like, gee, that guy even still work here anymore, and you're trying to like post something that goes with some text you have, it's a holiday or whatever. You just want to be engaging and interesting on social media or whatever. That kind of gets that completely out of there, especially if you're just typing in roofing and solar guy, or like, panel change out or whatever it is,
Yeah. 100%, dude, 100%. And it's attractive. People are like, wow, that's a cool picture. Even if they don't care about an HVAC unit, they still think it's a cool picture. They're going to stop and look.
Most of the time it's a cool picture.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Do you see like a lot of those different AI things on social media too? People just give it the other different prompts, like, I don't know, man, like Seinfeld characters as aliens or whatever it is,
Yes.
Am I off the rails? Yeah, it's the same thing. Right?
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? But it's just words. All that's word. That's what's so mind-bending to me, is that you could type in a sentence and it create this really specific picture based on the words.
Yeah. Well, when are you, Corey, when are you changing the game with all this? What's next?
I'm going to say 30 days. 30 days, we should be, I think we'll launch in 30 days. We'll have a demo in the next 7 to 10.
No shit. 30 days, huh?
I've been working on this for months and months and months. I just haven't been able to really talk about it.
Yeah, dude, I messaged you at the right time.
Yeah, well, you actually hit me at the exact right time, because I've not really talked about this a ton in fact, I don't think I've ever talked about it outside of my podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe not even this specific, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and just as a little aside here, we're probably so today is April 11th. It'll probably go out later on this week or early next week, just so you know.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'll have them chop it up and give it to you too.
I would encourage people, to look into this. And the easiest way to do that is go into ChatGPT and start asking questions. I'm a contractor. How can you help me with my content? Right. And it'll tell you. And then you got to read it and do what it says, and it's going to give you the result. And I'm going to just tell you the way I really learned how to do all this stuff is I reversed engineered anything I didn't know about. Anything I didn't know about, I would put in, and if it was complicated or if it was, I'll just give you an example. I was driving, this is not a great example. One of the things that hooked me on this is I was driving down to, I think it was RoofCon. I can't remember where it was, BHCC or something. And I asked it to create an onboarding process for a CSR for a plumbing company. And within 45 seconds, I had that process. And I went, there's no way this is right. So I pulled over and I looked at it and I'm like, holy shit. Dude, this is like, I swear to God. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Then I did it for a technician. And it was like, it's not like it just subbed the words out. Like, it's actually a process that 100% you could follow.
Is that based on everything you've already given to it? Like, it already knows Corey and all the stuff he usually types in, so it just punched out.
Not at that point. Not at that point.
Shit, it already knew what a CSR was.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. It's really, really wild.
I wonder if other people have thought to do that before. Something that's kind of tedious. Hardly anybody, right?
No, because they just don't believe that this freaking machine, this software could be able to do something like that. And plus, you'll get this. That ain't how my daddy did it. That ain't how my grandpa did it.
That's for sure, man. Especially if you're like, in the trades, you know what I mean? You've been working for yourself for a while. You're your own, not your own boss, wrong way to think about it, but you have your own company, your own thing. You're probably not traditionally, not educated, but traditionally like schooled in this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And like the usefulness of it. But something like that is wild to me to think about. I can't believe I never even thought about it.
Well, and look, that's just a simple example, right? That's just one example out of a trillion. It's pretty wild, dude. And to further more about so I'll tell you how I reverse engineer whatever the question is. And let's just say, I'll give you a great example. I wanted to learn something about blockchain the other day, a specific blockchain. I know nothing about blockchain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So I stuck in the information, like the name of the blockchain, which I don't even remember what it is now. And I said, tell me about this. And it was really complicated words and it's a bunch of shit I didn't really understand. So I'm like, okay, tell me like I'm 5. And then it tells me like, it comes out like I'm 5. And then I'm like, okay, now I understand exactly what this complicated thing was. I understand it exactly.
That's awesome.
And so that's how I've learned. I've reversed engineered everything that I haven't understood. It's like a different education. It's like a new education in record time.
Yeah, that's great. Who in the obviously the admin side, we know it's going to clean up, but if I'm like, who's the ideal guy, the ideal guy or girl, the ideal business owner for a solution like this kind of all encompassing, like AI focused, help you out day to day, whatever it is, who is the person that's going to be should definitely reach out to you or whoever it is?
I would say, and it would definitely be me at this point, it would be the guy that does have a lot of balls spinning, that can't keep up with the day to day, the $1 to $2 to $3 million company that they just can't get past that spot. And we know that that's a hard spot. Getting to 5 is really hard. Then getting to 10 is really hard. But if you can optimize your systems, and I mean systems and processes, like you can optimize just about anything, not necessarily inside a chat, but I know the prompts, I know how to help the machine learn your business. And so what I do is I come in and I ask a bunch of questions just like I would normally do. And I figure out what the biggest pain points are, and I figure out what's keeping you from getting, so let's say, to that $5 to $10 million mark. And usually it's a bunch of tedious stuff that you shouldn't be doing. And so if you can automate that, the efficiency and the productivity goes through the roof.
Yeah, I was about
to frees you up to do what you're good at.
Yeah, dude, I was about to be like, what tedious stuff? And I was like, no, don't do that. We gotta keep that.
It's a lot of tedious stuff. Like, think about this. Like, well, just email in general. Like, that's just one thing, and follow up. One other thing that most of the people in the trades are not great at.
A lot of missed opportunities there.
A lot of missed opportunities.
A lot of big opportunities, though, with AI coming up.
Absolutely. There's big opportunities if you didn't have AI, but you just got to put the right people in the right spot. And I don't normally tell people this before I work with them, but I fully intend on taking one of your CSRs and making them your inside salesperson. And all they're going to do is they're going to follow up and they're going to talk to those customers like they're human beings. And guess what? We're going to bring in a lot of money that you would have left on the table. I've done it over and over and over, and it works every single time if I have a coachable CSR.
That is incredible, Corey. What else? What haven't we covered yet today?
Let's see here. I'll be honest with you. I've got an AI assistant on my phone. And so if I want to put something in my calendar, I say, I actually named it Ask because I want to be funny. So I say, hey, Ask, right? Hey, Ask, put XYZ at 4:00 on Tuesday and put a reminder an hour in before. And boom, it's on my calendar. For me, that's huge. It takes so many steps out of putting something on my calendar.
Oh, dude, that not even just professionally. That would save me a lot of strife in my personal life too, with the calendars, making sure everybody knows where I am and what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver. It really is.
Yeah. And where can people learn more about you and all this? What should they do?
So we, by the time this comes out, our Resistance AI is going to be, that's the company name, and that'll be the website. So resistanceai.com. And I would love to share with you why I named it that.
Please.
In life, we have resistance, whether it's the guy that you're behind in traffic, that's resistance. Whether it's those thoughts in your head that say, you really suck and you're really not a good contractor because you didn't finish college or you didn't finish high school. Or if it's the nag of, a drink, or if anything that is holding you back in life, I call it resistance. And so I named it that because this fights that resistance, right? It streamlines the resistance.
That's a great name for it. That's a good way to sum up the vision of the company too. You did awesome branding in there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
I'm not even a branding guy.
But you could be. Corey, awesome talking to you today about AI and everything it's going to do for contractors. And people want to find you. Your social handles are right here. All right. And then go to CoreyBerrier.com to get in touch with you directly, book some time, and talk to you about how you can help them streamline everything and start growing their businesses.
100%. And look, it's funny. People are like, well, tell me what AI can do for my business. Well, I don't know the problems I don't know what the problems are. I can't just start, like, there's a zillion different solutions out there.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy that process of understanding what the owner's personal pain points are. Because if we start there, we can solve the rest of them. Right.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, dude, again, incredible talking to you today. I look forward to seeing you on the circuit soon, wherever we're going to be next together. But no matter what, good luck with Resistance AI. I know you don't need it, but we'll follow up here in a couple of months about the success of it. All right.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.